I grew up in a town that doesn't exist on most maps. You won't find it on travel blogs. You won't find it on hidden gems lists. And if you type the name into GPS, sometimes it corrects itself to somewhere else. We have one main road, 2 gas stations, a grocery store that closes at 6 p.m., and a rule that every single person follows. No one leaves their house after 9 p.m., not teenagers, not adults, not police. 9 p.m., not 9:05, not 9:01, 9. When I was little, I thought it was just one of those small town things, like how everyone knows each other, or how the diner only serves breakfast. But this was different. At exactly 8:55 p.m., something changes. You feel it before you see it. The air gets heavier, like the pressure drops. Dogs stop barking, crickets stop chirping, and every porch light flicks off. Every single one. Not because we lose power, because we turn them off, on purpose. By 9 p.m., the town goes dark. Dead dark, like it's trying not to be noticed. When I turned 16, I asked my dad why. We were sitting at the kitchen table, 8:40 p.m. He kept glancing at the clock like it was about to explode. "Why can't we go out after 9?" I asked. He didn't look at me. He just said, "Because we don't." "That's not an answer." His jaw tightened. "You don't break curfew. Ever." "Or what?" That's when he looked at me, and I swear, I've never seen fear like that in his eyes. Or it notices. He stood up. Conversation over. 8:57 p.m. Lights off. No one ever explains what it is. They don't joke about it. They don't whisper about it. They pretend the rule is normal, which makes it worse. Because in small towns, rumors spread like wildfire. But this? Silence. Like the whole town signed a contract. The first time I heard it, I was 12. I couldn't sleep. It was 9:13 p.m., and I heard footsteps outside. Slow, measured, crunching on gravel, back and forth, right in front of our house. I thought it was a cop, or someone walking their dog. But no dogs barked, no doors opened, no engines started, just footsteps. Then, a knock. 3 slow knocks. On our front door. I froze. My parents' bedroom door opened. My dad's footsteps moved down the hall. But he didn't go to the door. He stood in the living room, silent. The knocking came again. 3 knocks. Slower, like it was waiting. And then, a voice. Soft, almost familiar. Open the door. My blood went cold. It sounded like my mom, but she was standing behind me in the hallway. I felt her hand clamp over my mouth. "Don't," she whispered. The voice outside tried again. "Please, it's cold." Then something scratched down the door. Long, slow, like nails. We stood there for what felt like hours. Eventually, the footsteps moved on. The next morning, nothing was said. No one asked if we heard it. At school, everyone looked tired, but no one mentioned it. Until lunch. A girl named Marissa didn't show up. She lived 2 streets over. Her locker was empty. Her name wasn't called in class. And by the end of the week, her house was for sale. No explanation. No goodbye. Like she had never existed. I started noticing something. Every year, 1 or 2 people disappear. Always people who complain about the curfew. Always people who joke about sneaking out. And then they're just gone. Their houses get new owners, who follow the rules immediately. When I turned 18, I decided I was done being scared. I had a car. I had a plan. And I had proof. Because one night, I saw something. At 8:59 p.m., I was in my room, watching the street, waiting. 9 p.m. lights out. Darkness swallowed everything. And then, at the end of the road, a shape, tall, too tall, It wasn't walking. It was unfolding, like it had been folded up between houses, its limbs bent wrong, too many joints, its head tilted as if listening. Then it moved, not step by step, but in jerks, like frames skipping in a broken video, and it stopped in front of old Mr. Halpern's house. It leaned down and knocked 3 times. I grabbed my phone, zoomed in, recorded. My hands were shaking so badly the footage blurred, but I saw it. Long fingers, no face, just a smooth surface where features should be. And then its head snapped up, directly toward me. Even from that distance, I felt seen. The next second, it wasn't at Mr. Halpern's door anymore. It was in the middle of the street, closer. I dropped the phone. My lights were off. I hadn't made a sound, but it knew. It knew. It took one jerking step forward, then another. Then, my dad burst into my room. He yanked me away from the window. "Are you insane?" he hissed. Something slammed into the side of the house, hard enough to shake the walls. My dad dragged me to the bathroom, locked the door, turned on the shower, full blast. "Don't let it hear you breathe." Outside, scraping, like something circling the house. Slowly, patiently, then silence. The next morning, my phone was gone. My window was cracked from the inside, and my dad wouldn't look at me. "You almost called it," he said. "It was already here." "No," he replied. "It was passing through." That word stuck with me. Passing through. Through what? Through who? I needed answers. So I did the one thing no one had done in years. I went to the library archives. There was a section sealed off. Old newspapers from the 1950s, before the curfew, back when the town was growing, back when people stayed out late. The headlines stopped me cold. Missing family of 4. Search called off after 12 disappear. Strange figure reported on highway. And then one article, half torn, dated October 17th, 1956. It described a man found wandering barefoot at 3 a.m., covered in blood that wasn't his. He kept repeating one sentence. "It asks to be let in." The town imposed a temporary curfew after that, but it didn't help. Disappearances continued until a town meeting was held, and whatever was decided that night was never written down. But the disappearances stopped. The same month the permanent 9 p.m. curfew began. I found something else, a handwritten note tucked into the file. Different ink, different handwriting. If no one answers, it leaves. If no one looks, it moves on. I felt sick. This thing didn't break in. It waited. It asked. And if someone responded, if someone acknowledged it, that was permission. That night, I did something stupid. I stayed up. 8:58 p.m., 9 p.m. darkness. I stood in front of my mirror and whispered, "Hello." Nothing. I felt ridiculous. Then, knock. 3 times, right behind me, on my bedroom window. I didn't turn around. My heart was trying to rip out of my chest. A voice whispered through the glass. "You called." I couldn't breathe. It sounded like me, exactly like me. Same tone, same pitch. "You looked," my reflection smiled, but I wasn't smiling. "You answered." And that's when I understood. It doesn't just knock on doors, it knocks on attention, curiosity, defiance. If you acknowledge it, it anchors. The glass cracked. My reflection leaned closer than physically possible, its mouth opened too wide. "You let me in," I ran, out of my room, down the stairs. My parents were already in the hallway. They heard it too. Outside, every house on the street was shaking, doors rattling, windows trembling. Because I had broken the rule, I had answered. And now it wasn't just visiting, it was hunting. The knocking started at every house at once. Three knocks, three knocks, three knocks, like a rhythm, like a heartbeat. The town lights flickered on, for the first time in years, and I saw them, more than one, dozens, unfolding between houses, on rooftops, crawling across power lines. They weren't passing through, they were waiting for someone to break, and I had. My dad grabbed the shotgun. It didn't matter. Bullets don't work on things that ask permission. My mom shoved me toward the basement. "You have to leave town," she said. "It won't stop now." "What is it?" I screamed. My dad finally answered. "It's what we made." In 1956, the town tried to hide something, a tragedy, a group of children killed in a factory collapse. The owners covered it up. The town stayed silent. No one spoke. No one answered questions. They ignored the truth, and something answered back. It became the silence. It became the knocking. And the only way to keep it from taking more was to never respond, never acknowledge, never let it in. The front door exploded inward, not broken, opened. Like someone had politely turned the handle. My dad fired. The thing didn't fall. It unfolded taller, until its head scraped the ceiling. Its face was mine. It smiled. Curfew is over. The lights across town went out again, but this time, not by choice. And outside, the knocking stopped, because the doors were already open. I don't know how I survived. I woke up in a hospital 2 towns away. They said my house burned down, electrical fire. My parents didn't make it. The town? Evacuated, condemned. You can drive there now, but you won't find any buildings, just foundations, and one sign, still standing. Welcome. There's no mention of the curfew, no mention of the disappearances. But if you go at night and sit in the dark, at exactly 9 p.m., you'll hear it. 3 knocks, not on your door, on your car window, soft, patient, waiting. And if you look, if you even glance, you'll see something unfolding in the reflection, smiling, because it doesn't need a town anymore. It just needs someone to answer. And now, you know about it.